Pull up a seat, let your guard slide down. We're laughing, we're learning, we're holding you down. Welcome to the spill room, where the truth feels good and the vibe stays smooth. Lean in, tune in, let your heart make moves. Welcome to the spill room. You're locked in now. Let's get into it.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Friday!
Happy Friday!
Happy Friday!
Yay!
I
love a good Friday. Friday's a good day.
They are good. I had to put the jelly beans there. I don't know why.
You know what's funny? I took them off thinking,
Yeah.
don't bother everyone. And now you
Really?
want them, do you? You want jelly
And
beans?
the thing is, I don't usually do lollies. So someone is craving sugar and I'm picking up on this person and it's torturous.
Too much.
Mm-mm.
Can I just say, whether it's me or not, out of nowhere this week, it's like the hunger, pregnancy hunger is next level. I had lasagna and then I had 2 pieces of raisin toast. I'm like, please God, just don't let me do this again. Please. But yeah.
Did you hear my stomach just rumble?
Yeah.
You said you had breakfast,
You're
Mary.
not
I
a sugar
asked you.
person. Oh, I had lowest little piece of raisin toast.
Yeah.
And so I was like, yeah.
I'm not the sugar. I don't really eat. I'm not sugar. I'm
No.
not savory.
Well, sugar is a man.
Oh,
no.
It's a man.
Sugar probably me because he will have a whole bag of lollies all the
I know we said we're going to talk near-death experience and those things and trauma this week, but it's been a big week. How can I put it? A revelation. And people who aren't coping, it's all coming to the surface. So anyone who's struggling, if you notice that there's a real sense of falling apart, I know we had the full moon.
Yeah.
It's been an intense energy. Has anyone else felt that out?
Yes. For the last couple of weeks.
Yeah. So I suppose it's a good week to talk about trauma and things like that. But then on the other hand, I sort of go, gee, do we need to lighten it up? Is that what the joke is about too? Because it's really heavy out there. But yeah, it's amazing how we don't cope as well now as what we did maybe back in the day. I mean, even like 10 years ago.
Yep.
And I think COVID was a massive change. I noticed after COVID, all my readings changed.
Really?
Yeah, society just changed. There was a bitterness, an unhappiness with life. You would think coming back out of lockdown, people would have been happy to get back into it, but no.
But that's irrelevant. That's relevant in everything. So not just in their personal life, that's also impacting their work life.
Absolutely.
I've had a lot of conversations with, professionals in the industry and people and just, simply employees where they felt even the return from work, having to now no longer work from home or being forced back into an office environment. They're not dealing with that. They actually preferred being from home.
Yeah.
For me, I can't understand that. I can understand that to a degree. I think a little bit of it is great because it helps you manage and have work-life balance. But from a social interaction perspective, it's a challenge because when you're interacting with people and trying to make connections, doing them just online or over the phone is very different to being in front of a person and feeling them. And energy was my topic for the week. So my revelations were healing, like how to self-heal, and that feeling of if you're at a low point, how do you now re-energize to get yourself? So it's interesting how that does sort of intertwine.
I think during COVID, everybody had time to reflect on their life because they were at home a lot. And maybe their relationships, their everything.
Yeah.
And I think like a lot of relationships fell apart during COVID.
Big time.
Or even just with their children.
Even choices.
People struggling to be with their children day in and day out. Like it was, maybe, I don't know. I didn't really experience that while I was being at home.
Yeah.
But then I was ready to come back.
I didn't like feeling trapped at home. I had that sense of there was a period where I think it was a good 4 weeks where I remember because we were building the pool because we thought we might as well build a pool while we can't work.
Yeah.
And I could not wait for it all to be over because I wanted to have that sense of freedom again. I felt like I was trapped. The fact that someone's telling me whether I can or can't go down the shops or go out and have dinner, for me, this is crazy.
And
Torture for me.
Me and Mum said this because we were talking about saving and whatever. Mum said, do you notice every person on the Saturday, Sunday, they're all going out for breakfast? Was that a thing ages ago?
Yeah.
It was like way more. You see everyone.
Yeah.
That's probably why, because everyone felt trapped for like the 2 years or whatever. Now they're like, we may as well live our life. Yeah, that could be the perspective that they have now. We even go out for breakfast. Even Dad, we never used to go out for breakfast.
It's my me time. I sit there with my headphones on. I've recently discovered that TV show. What was it? Highway to Heaven. Remember with Michael Landon? I used to watch it as a kid.
I haven't seen it. No.
Good, don't. It's ridiculous. It's a really like cheesy show where he's an angel who comes back.
Oh, hang on.
Comes
No,
and
I
helps
have
people.
seen the Highway to Heaven. And he guides them in their everyday scenarios. I have seen that.
I'm there with my headphones. I watch that over my breakfast. I'm in my element. But coming back to the COVID thing, the other thing I found fascinating was how many people entered into relationships and made big commitments at that time and are now suffering for it. You know, I know someone quite close to me who decided, well, let's just get married.
Oh, really?
So many people I read for, we met online, we were bored, we couldn't, you know, go anywhere. And they get together and they form these relationships out of, I suppose, a sense of loneliness or no one around. And they jump into these commitments full on without really knowing the person. And now, years later, they're really, really unhappy.
Wow.
Yeah, because it wasn't that natural process.
It was more like deliberate.
Yeah. It was like, I'm really, really lonely. And because some people did have this attitude of, well, it's just going to end or we're going to die, then you don't think about consequences long term. You think, oh, well, let's live in the moment. Let's get married now and let's do this now. And if we get married, we can live together. If we date, we can live together. So,
well, a lot of people did move in together, right? Because of the fact that they didn't want to be in the different local jurisdictions and things, so they did move in together. Well, you need to get to know someone hard and fast that way, wouldn't you?
Sure do, but then you're stuck. And that was the feeling is people felt, so here you are trapped in your home, but then here you are trapped that maybe is not your person because you just don't want to be alone.
But again, and I also reckon that comes into work as well.
Yeah,
And career choices as well. Some people are forced into either leaving their jobs and then having to make a change. So for some people it was positive.
Yeah.
Because they were able to, you know, find a different work avenue. They had no choice. And then now they've stayed with that.
Yeah.
Or in other respects, it was like, you know, now they've lost their job and, you know, used to being at home, maybe even the motivation to get back into work. It has been another wider scope of issues.
I feel so many people are comfortable working from home now, and then they feel entitled that I should be working from home. Why shouldn't I work from home? And now it's like a standard. Like my friend, one of my friends, she works from home, but she like misses being like during the week. She like can't wait to go to her actual office job,
get out of it.
And she's like, now they just hire people working from home, and I don't even know these people. I've never met them. And she's like, it's kind of like it's good for a Friday. You work from home, and she's like, but not every day. Because then you're constantly just on Zoom and you text someone and then that's it. Then when they're at a Christmas party together, she's like, who are you? Yeah. So I guess
it's amazing too how many single people my stomach's really rumbling. How many single people are working from home?
You need to have a jelly bean.
Yeah, I do. Single people are working from home and they're finding it really hard to meet people because these aren't people that normally go out and party or socialise, or this isn't going to work, is it? So then where they would naturally, I'll take two, they would naturally meet somebody at work, they don't have that avenue.
Yeah.
So they're literally at home all the time. So Danny, what are you thinking in terms of energy healing?
Okay, so you know how we did our 15-minute challenge? Our 15-minute challenge. Just by the way, guys, to find the time for me this week was a bit crazy. But I did eventually, you know, try and do it, but I had to do it sort of at night time when I was going to bed, which is probably not ideal, but it did still work. But all week, I felt very much like I was getting strong messages constantly, whether it was, you know, images appearing on when I would, you know, go online for something. There was just constantly this reminder about healing using your own energy powers. Now, some years ago, I was very fascinated with this topic, and I've always felt I've been someone that senses people's, how do I explain it, their energy or what's happening with them. So from an intuitive perspective, so if they're feeling really sad, or I'd feel their heart rate, or I knew something was maybe going to something was going on with that person, or even from an illness perspective. So if they were in pain, like they had a headache, I'd almost feel like I'm going to get the headache now.
Yeah.
Or if they have ankle pain. So I'll give you an example. I do this a lot with Dom.
Yeah.
So if he's got a sore ankle, I'll now have the sore ankle. Same ankle. Do you know what I mean? Things like that. So I went and did a Reiki course a number of years ago. And during that Reiki course, I really felt like I was developing an ability to assist people overcome using my own energy.
Lovely.
I'm still not 100% convinced I might be good at it, but I did do a little bit of work on it. So there was a scenario where I had to come out of the surgery and he was quite injured in his calf. He was really bleeding and had massive bruising, and he had knee surgery and it was going on for weeks. It just wasn't healing. He literally had a massive ball, like a clot that had formed of blood from the surgery, and it wouldn't go away. He literally could hardly walk. And I'd just done the course. And so, but part of the course when you do Reiki, you can't force someone. So they have to want to agree. So you know, you need to ask them, would you like me to try and heal you? So at first he was really like, yeah, right. It's all good. It's going to go away. This thing kept going on. So then one day he said to me, you know what? He goes, you need to do something. He goes, I can't walk. And it was still fully blood clotted. So you're choking again.
I'm just picking up.
You're picking up that topic.
Yeah.
So I got my crystal little set out, a little crystal Reiki set. I laid him down. I said, just lay down, close your eyes. I go, you sure you want to do this? He goes, yep, just do it. Like, I need something. I can't stand it. So I popped a crystal on his ankle. I might have actually popped it on his knee, and then I went to the ankle, and then I did what I needed to do, to the point where he then suddenly stopped me. So I was just in my own little trance. So I literally just was hovering above him, and I'm, doing the thing that I need to do, like releasing positive energy onto him and healing energy and stuff like that. I'm right in that area. Beautiful. And the amount of heat that was coming out of my hands at the time, that I was almost burning. Perfect. So then all of a sudden he's flicked his leg up and he goes, holy crap. He goes, the crystal's vibrating.
Wow.
So he freaked out.
Yeah.
And he said, did you know that the crystal's vibrating? I said, I'll be honest with you, no. I was that much like with my eyes, with my own little world. I didn't realize. He said it was shaking like crazy.
Wow.
Do you know that then, and I swear to God, the next morning he woke up and 70% of the blood in that region, like this massive bruise, was gone.
Oh.
And he was actually, gone from being a skeptic, and he just went, that is insane. Because that cannot be coincidence. And I said, look, but that kind of scared me. And so I haven't really done it again. It is in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
And this entire week, I've just constantly been getting reminders, you need to keep doing it. You need to go back to it. You need to go back to it. So anyway, after, Friday, when we sort of said, Dom and I were on the weekend and we turned YouTube on to just, see what's on there. And the first thing that came up, it was just on there as an ad. So we watched it. It was a program. It went for 20 minutes and it talked about how a person has the ability to reprogram their brain to release energy to heal.
Yeah.
And so we watched it. It was about 20 minutes and it was fascinating. So it was scientifically how you can release just from your train of thoughts, your energy to the very next person. Like you've got, I think it was a certain ratio, like the person standing in front of you,
I think
of
it's
what you
bigger.
Can feel. It could be bigger, but it talked about then it can go as far as into the universe.
Absolutely.
So you can literally physically move yourself to send that energy out. Yeah, that was and it was just constant. Like I'm every single day. And then even this morning when I got up, first thing when I went to open my phone, it was Archangel Raphael, I think, all green, all glowing, and it said, take your time to use your energy to heal. You have the power. And I'm like, holy crap, this is every day there's been some sort of message. And I thought, I've really got to start focusing back, into my crystals. And I find working with the crystals to do that help really works for me.
Excellent.
And as I think about it, I'm already getting the tingles in my
your hands will heat up.
Very strange.
Once you're attuned to Reiki, your hands will heat, you'll get that sensation, and you literally just need to heal. And when it burns up like that, literally touch something, even if it's your own legs, touch it, send that healing on, because that energy becomes so intense. Intention is everything. Let's go back with that. Intention is everything. So what heals is intention. And if you have that intention to really heal that person, it does wonders. The other thing you said was that people need to give permission, and they do. They don't have to give it verbally. So
just
you can
mentally.
Yeah, you can tap into someone's energy. If you close your eyes and go, so for those of you who are trying to send healing to others, if you close your eyes and go, you know, do you accept healing from me? And you get a no from that person energetically. Don't go near it. Don't mess with their energy. Don't go past that boundary. It's not good for you or them. You'll both feel sick. And you can feel who lets you in and who doesn't. And you know how you said you sense energy? You can sense who lets you in and who doesn't when you meet them. Who's open to you, who's closed off to you. If someone's closed off, you can't heal that person. But what's interesting is John was like, please, I really need it now. And there's that massive healing for him. One thing I struggle with when it comes to healing and doing the Reiki work and that side of it is that if they don't really want to heal, it doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
And then you go, well, why do people come if they don't want to heal? And I understand it. I never judge it. But if we let go of our pain, sometimes that's our identity and we don't want to let that go. So, and that's what I was going to say. The energy this week has been mental. That's why you're being called back to the healing. The world needs it. You know, because everyone is sort of not coping at the moment because it's exposing things. People who are natural born healers like you are going to be on fire. So you're meant to do the work, Dan. Just do it.
And I actually like it too.
You're good at it.
I'm intrigued by it as well because it is fascinating to think that I didn't feel that vibration heating, but I could feel the heat. For me, my hands are burning. And he even said, it's so hot, it's so hot. He goes, you need to stop now. And I went, oh, okay. Like, I was just in another world. The person receiving the healing and the person giving it feel two different things. That's where self-healing is interesting. So I don't know when you did your Reiki, but when I put my students through it, they have to do 21 days of self-healing. Yes, I did 21 days. I had to do a whole challenge of like not drinking.
So some people, let's say, tolerate alcohol or food differently. And I worked with this great shamanic teacher who said, you have to eat the food of your people. So, you know, if you come, let's say, from an Indian background, you know, the foods that are naturally present there are going to work for your body. If you try to go on a different diet, it doesn't work. But then let's say you come from a very English background and you try to go on that Hindu diet or something more vegan, it's not going to work for you. With teaching, you've got to be really careful in that. I always say it's what suits your body. You know your body, and part of Reiki is getting really in tune with your body. Like, what does my body need? And maybe that's a challenge for our listeners this week. When you eat, how does it feel in your body? Like when you eat something, I don't ever eat jelly beans, ever. It feels weird. That's why I took all the jelly beans out. Do you ever feel different when you eat a meal? There's something you eat that just feels so good. It's like, this feels great. And you eat something else that feels really gross. That's one of the important keys to energetic healing. What you put in your body is going to affect your energy. So be really conscious of what you eat. You've also be conscious who you sleep with, who you hug, who you touch.
Yeah, because you can project that.
Exactly.
Take it on board.
Yeah. Once you touch, once you hug, once you sleep with someone, it's like plugging into
Is that why when I'm not getting a good vibe from someone and I have to give them a hug to say goodbye?
It's hard. It's really hard. Yeah.
That was my savage night.
Well, I've got very good at saying no because I am a hugger and I love hugging you. It's only been the last couple of years I've been really good at when I feel that energy, it's saying no to that. And people get really offended, but I can't take that on because as soon as I hug them, I'm going to take it and I'm like, oh, I can't do it.
I just feel bad vibes.
Yeah. But that's why you're such a great healer, because you have great intention. When you heal, it's not about your ego. It's not about you really care about that person. Your intention is, I really want to heal this person. And yeah, it's amazing.
And I think it's come from knowing how to deal. So obviously having come from having a very bad back injury as a young girl, and even giving childbirth, I did it with no pain relief. I can handle pain. I can push through pain to the point where I remember when I had, because I can't take medications, I'm allergic, and I'm allergic to certain things. So my fear of having codeine ends me up in hospital. I was giving birth. They were like going to me, you know, there's no way you're 10 centimeters. And I'm like, I'm telling you about to drop this baby. And I dropped her in the toilet, literally almost had her on the toilet. Because they did not believe me that I was in labor.
Same.
And I'm like, I'm telling you. And they go, you know, you're not giving us the, you know, thing. And I'm like, obviously I deal with pain. I'm telling you, I'm having the baby. And then I had her on the toilet. They had to.
So then mum thought that everybody's birth was like that?
That's what I
thought. So when I'm like, with my child stuck in my hoo-ha, mum's like, only going to be another half an hour now. Surely he's going to come out. It's only half an hour. It can't go longer than 9 o'clock. Like, mum's been 30 hours. It couldn't go longer.
I remember saying to my sisters, it's nothing. It's fine. It's easy. No one would believe I was in labour. The thing that hurt the most was when the nurse threw the phone at my head. When she realised my daughter was actually coming out, said, "Oh my God, you call your husband, I'll call the doctor," and clocked me in the phone. That's the only pain I remember. Really? During labour? Labour's easy. It was just, it's like a pressure. It's like pressure, like you have to go to the toilet. But it's not, it wasn't pain. So all I felt was pressure. It was pretty easy.
I felt identical.
Isn't that funny that we both had that experience, but we're both healers? And it was funny.
So is that the connection?
Yeah.
Because we're able to
Transcend
manage,
pain.
then we can transcend it.
I thought it was great with pain and stuff.
And then
I thought it was amazing.
This is Natalie. She did deal with
I was so, with contractions, I thought I could do this for days.
Yeah, and I said to her, they might get a bit more painful, hon. And then she goes, "There's the devil inside of my body. Just get it out."
But that was when he was stuck. But when I was in the having lunch, and I'm seeing out this, I'm like, oh, and Mum goes to Jared, "She's doing good. She's doing all right. She's handling it." I thought I was doing amazing. I thought he was going to come out really quickly. I thought it was, and Mum's like, "She's like me. She's going to just, in another half an hour." Right. That didn't happen.
Right. I remember talking to my auntie about it afterward because she was similar to me. She's like, "Oh yeah, we're Pisces, so we just go off on another planet and we just move away from the pain. We just go somewhere
Were you like that
else."
with both kids?
Both kids. My son was 2 hours from start to finish. It was just a bullet.
So it sounds like mine.
Yeah.
I had that.
It's your birth canal.
So I had that in 40 minutes, but like I had a very, on and off day. Like,
Yeah.
and I didn't really know, am I or am I not in labour? Is it happening? Anyway, and then when I had CNR, I was induced. So the only pain, like Dom always says this, the only pain this poor woman had was when they shoved that freaking needle through her to break my water.
Yeah.
And they scratched me. Otherwise, mate, I could deal no problem. I had a bit of gas.
Yeah.
That is it.
We're supposed to do my birth story. We never do.
Do you think it?
I hate people asking about what happened with my birth because I brought it up every now and then.
Yeah.
It's all right. We're talking about it now eventually.
Yeah. Well, do tell.
No, it's not really that interesting. There's been heaps of people that have had the same thing.
Yeah. Just
Anyway,
it wouldn't come out.
It was posterior.
Yeah. And I always say that when that happens with a child, that child has to come to the world finding. So even if, let's say, you're someone who can set that intention or mentally put yourself in that space, that's great. But then there are situations where just because you go through that doesn't mean that you're someone who maybe can't handle the pain or do that. Some kids have to come to the world fighting because the energy that you're born with is the energy that you carry through your life. So Noah is going to be that kid who can fight adversity. He's going to be able to fight things. It means he's got a big destiny in that way. Whenever there's a traumatic childbirth, that's a sign for me that, oh, this kid's something special. I'm not saying it's an easy birth, they're not, but something special.
Sorry, guys, you're all
Not special.
Yeah.
He does do things that were like, even Mum and Dad have said, not because it's their grandchild, but like, you just didn't do that at one. Like, he does things that were like, he does.
Think he's a healer like his grandma.
Yeah, probably. Mum goes, "Oh, thank God I've got a sports grandchild because none of my kids."
I never was a soccer mum, right?
Yeah.
I have a friend that I always joke around with. Yeah. She's my best friend. She's got 5 kids, so her life is literally.
Yeah.
And even as of last night at 8 o'clock, we were talking to her to wish the twins a happy birthday. I could only get one twin because she goes, "Oh no, Thursday night's crazy night, it's dancing AFL," and I'm like, "Yeah, kudos to you." I'm so not that mum.
No, me neither.
Yeah, so when I was giving birth, well, no, I wasn't giving birth because I wasn't even 10 centimeters yet. They had to give me an epidural that I didn't want because he was stuck in my back.
Yeah.
So it was just a different pain altogether. I wish no one ever feels that pain because now I know the labour pains is doable.
Yeah.
But that back pain was
pain's
something else.
horrible. Yeah.
When they were giving me this epidural, it wasn't working.
Yeah.
It was
didn't
They
work.
did it about 4 times.
Because you're trying to protect your baby. So we can reject medicines, we can
Can you
reject
be
that.
that strong?
You can be that strong because nothing.
Because I didn't want to have it. Is it because like you really, if you want it, your body will accept it?
Yep.
As well.
The strongest power on earth is a mother trying to protect their child. If you can't walk, can't this or that, something's hurting your child, you'll find a way to get up and walk and protect that child.
Yeah.
It is an instinct like nothing else.
Well, the whole time I was saying, I feel like that. I feel like I'm.
And you didn't want it.
I was saying for ages, wasn't I? I'm like, no, something's wrong. He's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
But
Because you didn't want that epidural, it might take it comes back to what I was saying before, intention is everything. If you don't want to heal, you won't. And it wasn't that you didn't want to heal, but you don't want that epidural, you don't want any harm to your baby.
This also leads me to stories that obviously in our professional life, being a safety company, we come across a lot of, different stories and cases that have happened with workplace injury.
Yeah.
And we met a gentleman, was it you or Sienna? It was me and you. We went to a
James.
site. Yeah, his name was James. Lovely guy. And so we met him. He'd just started at his workplace, and so we were doing a first aid little tour around the business. And then he said, I'm really, really advocate for WHS after having experienced a workplace injury.
Yeah.
And we looked at him and we sort of like, on the surface, to look at James, there's this hunky-dory little bloke, or big bloke, physically very fit.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at him trying to figure out, in my mind, what would his workplace injury be? And then it kind of sort of sank on me as he was about to talk. I sort of looked at his physique, and then I realised he did have a little bit of a slight limp.
His legs were skinnier.
Yeah, he had a slight limp.
Yeah.
And then he said he was crushed. He was a quadriplegic for, I won't quote it, whether it was 5 years, 50 years, 70. It was a long period. He couldn't walk. He said, mind over matter. I was determined, that there would be no way I was not going to walk again. To retrain his body to be able to walk again.
Wow.
Like, it was an incredible story. I mean, obviously,
No, and he also said he doesn't have excuses for people who don't look after them.
You don't, yeah. He said because
He said
his
body's the most
mindset.
important thing. When you're sitting there and you have nothing, you can't move.
Yeah.
You got to really,
And it
really
is-
appreciate your body after.
Yeah.
And when we bring it back to what you were saying earlier, people get this real heaviness and that get themselves to this all-time mental status of lowness.
Yeah.
That's where, how do you empower them to understand that you can change it? I could have made a choice when I was 18 to not work anymore. I couldn't walk. I was struggling in pain daily, didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And I had to make a choice. Like, I didn't want to live like that. No one can force you into change.
Yeah.
You have to make and want that.
You have to want it.
And it can happen.
I want to change topic, not just because you're kind of on that. Me and my mother-in-law were talking yesterday, and Ellie Mary can probably answer it.
Yeah.
And everyone asks this question. You walk through a hospital, and then you see a really young kid who's suffering with cancer, or they were born with a thing, and you think to yourself, why that child? Well, in our case, that someone we know, where a young girl has passed away.
Yeah.
Why?
It brings change. So there's always a purpose to it. And it's hard because when I'm working with parents who've lost children, I think there's nothing worse than that.
Yeah.
It is the absolute worst thing. I always say, please never complain about your life if you have not lost a child, because you don't know pain. I think that we can deal with anything, but that's something that you never get over and you never recover from. You recover, but you don't. And you have to learn to live with it. You're never going to completely heal. You learn how to live with it, and you can live a very full and happy life, but it's something that's always going to be there. Whereas everything else you can almost pretty much wipe. The reason that is because whenever a child goes in that circumstance, it is so traumatic. The change it leaves behind is huge. So quite often after a child passes, people separate or, maybe they come closer together. Or then they decide we're going to have another child that maybe they wouldn't have had. And then the way they raise that child is completely different to how they'd raised that child. The child goes on to do something quite amazing. The child who passes teaches a lot of people things, whether it is to love, like, we were saying before, when you lose a child, sometimes it brings people together in love in different ways. But there's always a lesson or a massive, profound change that makes. And even if it's let's say more like an adult child, like someone in their 20s or their 30s, even older, anytime someone passes, there's a profound change. So your life literally can't go back to normal.
Yeah. So were they put on the earth
To make that change, that's their purpose. Because what they create in that time, the change they make in that short time, if they live to 80, 90, 100, they would have never had that impact.
I think if they're trying to find a reason, because I was in that, they're probably getting at why them. I believe that it's not necessarily a question of why. It's a question of, okay, so what's to come now for the future?
Yeah.
Okay. And the positive that should come out of that. There is ultimately going to be, and is it fair? No,
It's not all of us to say because we've never.
it is not fair. It is not ever going to be a fair scenario. And I think a parent who loses a child or a partner that loses their husband early or their wife,
It's never
whatever
fair.
that is, never
They see an
going
old
to be
person
fair.
dying, it's just
It's not.
awful.
It's never fair.
Yeah.
It's never fair. But are we ever going to get the fair reason why? No.
No.
Do you know what I mean? That's how
Yeah,
I
even someone
see it.
who drops dead in their 40s. from
That's
heart
right.
attack.
Is
It
that
doesn't
fair?
make sense.
It's never going to be fair.
Yeah.
Is it somebody else's fault? No. It's just the set of circumstances surrounded on that situation, and it was that person's time. Because I believe everyone has their own time mapped out as soon as the minute you've come out of that woman's vagina.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right? It's the minute that you're born.
You can't change the day you're born and the day you die. When I had my near-death experience, I saw the day that I'm going to die.
Did it traumatize you?
Not traumatized me. I think the circumstances for both were traumatizing. I don't really want to talk about the circumstances because they're hard raw for, I suppose, family, or I don't really tell my kids about them or talk about them, so I don't bring it up now. It's not something I want them to carry.
Yeah.
You know, once they get that imprint in their brain, they're going to take that. Even I'm quite sure with my mum, with my first one, I'm quite sure she's blocked most of that out. So to bring that back up, it's better for them to have
And maybe for
peace.
other people as well. Like somebody else may have experienced something like this, and for them it's quite traumatizing.
It
So
is.
it's fair.
True. I think what's traumatizing is that, you know, again, it's like when you lose someone young. Well, no, it's not. I can't compare it to that. There's a purpose. There's a purpose that comes with it. Traumatizing is probably the wrong word.
Yeah.
But you kind of live with this purpose of why. Why did this happen? You know, what am I meant to take from this? You know, it's not a normal experience. You were sent back. Why were you sent back? What else is it that you have to do? When you have an experience like that, they give you some sort of message. They tell you what you're going to do. They tell you how you're going to die, when you're going to die, or they tell you what it is you're meant to go back and do, what you're meant to go back and fix.
Can you tell us did you see anybody?
Yeah,
Is that
absolutely.
or-
So I saw my grandfather the second time, and he told me I had to come back. He told me I had to have another child. He told me all these things I had to do. The first time when I was really young, I was told when I was going to die and how I was going to die. Well, stupidly told my dad. He freaked out and didn't want to hear it. I understand why, so I never spoke about it again. But it's sort of what it did when I was younger is it made me fearless to a degree, you know, because I knew that nothing was going to kill me to a certain point. So I could put myself in situations where I was like, no, that's not going to kill me. That's not going to take me. I can do what I need to do in this situation and be safe. So it wasn't about being reckless in a stupid way, but maybe it's about, let's say, putting myself in a situation to maybe defend someone else or do something that could potentially cause me danger. But because I knew I wasn't going to die, I felt safe to do that. So it gave me a sense of feeling safe to be a protector of others, because I knew I wasn't going to die.
So I was heavily bullied as a child. So you
Very
would have
badly
been.
bullied.
I was so badly bullied.
Yeah.
So I allowed myself to be bullied to the point where someone then came into my defense one day, and then
Yeah.
good old Susie, and I know she listens to the podcast, we're still friends. And if it hadn't been for her, from a mental perspective, I was in year 9. I don't know if I would have made the rest of my school life. That's how traumatized I was, daily picked on, daily.
Real problem.
And if it wasn't for her who stepped up one day, and she was popular, so I have a theory of popular people.
Yeah.
I never ever was one then to follow that, because there was nothing good about being in a popular group. And she came to my defense, and if it hadn't been for her, and she stood by me for right through to year 12, one thing, and I texted her not long ago telling her that I was going to do the podcast.
Yeah.
And I said to her, I still remember how much you saved my life when I was in year 9. And if it wasn't for you, I probably would have, who knows what I would have done.
Yeah.
Because I hated going to school. And then she said, she's a teacher now. And she
Wow.
said, do you know that I teach my kids about, she goes, I will not tolerate when she goes, and I talk about you all the time.
Wow. That's one.
Yes, it does. Yeah. And I said, well, good for you, because it was a lesson for her as well. She realised how inappropriate it was and how wrong it was. So,
That's really beautiful.
so anyway, back to your NDA.
Yeah. So, no, I didn't, for me, have that sense of, loving life more because I really loved it. You don't really have that tunnel with light experience. It does get dark, but then you see this bright light, and that's God's face. And you don't ever really see God's face even when you die. All you see is light. So your experience of God is always just light. And it's blinding, but it doesn't blind you. And then you find yourself in a very different space, and it feels a bit like it's almost like if you crossed a mountain village and a tropical island sort of feeling. And that was the thing that shocked me, I think, both times, is that it was a very real and tangible place. You know, it actually feels like, let's say, you've gone to another planet, like it felt real. And even though you're spirit, you do still feel like you can touch and you can feel.
Can I
Yeah.
did you go to the same place each time?
I did, both times. And that leads me to the whole healing thing. So if you're spirit and you feel you can touch and feel, the part of us that spirit hears, that's can touch and feel. Do you know what I mean? So that's where we can energetically heal. So that part has quite a bit of power. The part of our spirit that can actually feel is amazing. I don't think we realize our spirit can touch and feel things. Our energy can go somewhere ahead of time. And that's where you're like, oh, I can feel people when they come toward me. So yeah, coming back from it, I had a different sense of purpose each time. The second time I knew what was coming in terms of my kids, my marriage, everything that was happening in that. And I knew how I could navigate my way through that easily. And I came through that really unscathed and really powerful. So both times when I had the NDEs, it was more about empowering me to get through certain phases of my life. So you had Susie, I had spirit. And that was where, you know, in that NDE, having that fearlessness, if I was ever in those situations where I was attacked or I was bullied by I won't go into certain things, but situations in my life where my life was threatened through no fault of my own, I wasn't scared. But it also put me in that position of being able to be that person for other people as well. So if they were bullied or they were attacked or someone else was physically in danger, I would jump in and do something to try to save or help that person because I wasn't going to die.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
So it was empowering both times, but it wasn't comfortable. It's not like I wanted to stay, put it this way. When I had the second one, I only came back for my daughter. If it wasn't for kids, I probably wouldn't come back. It was so enjoyable. But then
Did you get the choice?
No, there's no choice.
There isn't a choice.
There's no choice. But there's also this part of me that then felt really sort of, when you're coming back and you know you have to come back, you get this really sort of weird discomfort. And I think they do that to you on purpose so that you don't want to go back.
Don't want to go back.
Yeah, because I'm in no hurry to die.
Yeah.
Like it's the NDEs have made me not ever want to die. I'm not scared of dying. Like I know it's going to happen. I know it's going to be fine, but I just I just want to live. Now that I've been there, I never want that again. When I was there, I was like, oh, I never want to leave.
Others have said other things.
Yes,
They now want to. Some of them have been left without scarring that they want to go back because it was overwhelming love.
It is.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
They say that what they can see, it's just everything's so rich. They recommend.
Yeah.
But when I was there, I didn't want to come back. When I was there, I felt that. But then it's like you get this jolt, and it's like no. It is so beautiful, and I have no fear. If when my time comes, I'm so not scared to go. I know exactly what I'm going to, and I'm going to love it. It's going to be great. My family,
But you're not done.
Beautiful. It was such a beautiful experience. But yeah, no, for me, no desire to go there anytime soon. Even though I felt that in that moment, that jolt you get when you come back, it's like, no. Yeah, it's sort of.
Do you feel like it's made you also make the most of what you have now? And that this is probably a big problem that the rest of us have, is not appreciating then what we have, because life is truly amazing.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be the low energy vibration that a lot of people experience, whether it's in love, work, whatever it be.
Yeah.
The journey is meant to be about happiness,
Absolutely.
and enjoyment of and being content.
That brings me to what we were talking about before. You said, your clients this week have been it's interesting. It actually wasn't my clients, it's the people I was dealing with. Okay. So socially, I felt it with people around me socially, people that I dealt with outside of reading.
Okay.
Where they just were not coping. All this stuff was being revealed. Anywhere where there's an issue, it was coming up to hit them in the face. This is I suppose, an energy where you can't hide things. If there's something you're not facing, it's going to get you in this moment. It's like, face this stuff. We're moving forward. It's here of the horse. You can't move forward till you deal with these things.
Get over those things.
And in the readings, what was hard and where my heart was breaking all week was it was people who were, in good places and they loved their partners and their family and their friends. But it was the people that were closest to them. They were struggling with someone that was not able to get out of that dark place. And in every situation, it's where they don't want to get out of that dark place. And that person is trying so desperately to do everything to lift them, and it's bringing them down. It's like, look, you really have to focus on you here and give them the space to deal with that on their own. This has to be something that they carry. You can't. You're going to sink. And it's almost a bit like we were talking about last week of how much do we take on other people's stuff. But, it's been sad, actually. It's been really, really hard. But it is that thing of, yeah, if people don't want to heal, they don't. Isn't it sad that, you know, we sometimes identify ourselves by our pain? It's pain. And a lot of the work I do when we do a lot of healing work, a big part of it is once this is gone, who are you? If you're someone who this has been the problem your whole life, well, let's say you've had an injury that's been your thing your whole life. If that's gone and you heal, then how do you define yourself now? Because for years, this is what you've been. If I've been the unhappy wife, if I've been this and this, and it's no one's fault, we just get into
They don't know who they are after the fact.
We have to know who we are before the fact, because that's how we get into those situations.
So I guess what you're saying is that sometimes people will keep repeating the same things in their
because
life
they're scared
because they really don't know anything else or how else to be.
Exactly.
That's why you find
it
they're always in the same cycle, no matter if they have changed, they're still in the same cycle.
Absolutely. It's like, this is who I am.
Yeah.
Because that's
So
identity. That's our identity. My life is suffering. And the reason that we stay in those patterns is we get a reward from it. So we never ever act away unless we get a reward from it. If we're no longer rewarded, we can't keep acting that way. It's really sad. And sometimes people go through something that is traumatic or hard and they get a lot of attention for that or a lot of sympathy for that. And then they keep wanting that. And initially they're not a victim. I mean, initially they're going through something. And I mean, I suppose you're a victim, but they're not choosing it. You know, initially it's a very genuine suffering that they're going through. But then they will seek out things unbeknownst to themselves where they attract that suffering because it brings in the attention and people like them and love them. Maybe no one looked at them until they maybe lost their partner or something like that. And that's a really horrible experience. But where they're deprived of the healing is they find all this attention in it or love in it that they never had before. And that actually stifles their healing. They stay in that space where they go, oh, people are seeing me now, people are hearing me, I'm going to continue to suffer and people will keep seeing me.
Is that because in their internal life, at home, every day, they don't feel happy in that?
Yeah, they don't have that love, they haven't been seen. So they're getting a reward for suffering. If I'm suffering, people will talk to me, people will notice me, people will see me.
I've seen a lot of documentaries on that, and people fake having cancer. Those are insane just because they're getting attention from social media and things because they're unhappy. But
and the sad thing is you can't blame them or judge them in it because they actually believe it sometimes. They really believe that they are suffering. I mean, look, there are people, who'll be faking it and know it, but then there are people who genuinely believe that that is their life.
And it brings it on.
Yeah, they're not trying to manipulate. But you'll notice that it gets to a point that it stops. It gets to a point where you go, hold on, this is doing more damage. I need to step back. And you just automatically know that point. And that's what I say is I love everyone until you get that feeling of, oh, something's wrong now. I need to stop. And it might be years into a friendship. It might be 5 minutes into something, but they need it in that time. And sometimes if you're giving them that attention, maybe you're saving them. It's like let's say someone who's addicted to a drug. Okay, if you maybe give it to them, it might be better you giving it to them than them going and robbing a bank to get the money to get it. You know what I mean? So what you're saying is that, come to my table, sit there, I'm going to be that person. But we all get to that point where, the universe, spirit, however you want to, whoever you think is in charge of all this goes, hold on a second, this has got to stop because now this person isn't growing anymore. Now it's not helping anymore.
And the time that the time that you have allocated, whatever benefit they got out of it, it was meant to be as well.
Absolutely.
So they might have needed that at that time. I don't look at things. I don't look back at it and go, oh my God, what a waste of time. Or that was terrible. I look back and say, you know what, I'll remember all the good things that happened during that period that were mutually beneficial as well, because there was a lot of gain in other ways. And if for now the period is that it's had to dissolve itself for whatever reason, because Dom says it really, really well. He says the rocket goes up, and when you're going up in life, no, what does he say? It releases. No, hang on, it's a different one. No, the rocket. He told me this one the other day. He goes, your rocket will launch.
That little piece of
he goes, you're the rocket.
The detonate drops to come off.
When the rocket launches and you're now getting to your destination, he goes, well, parts will fall off. And he has a way of saying this. So you've put up in your destination, but those parts that aren't meant to go with you fall off. And I went, oh, I like that. So
no, the first one is the bus.
Oh, that's if you want to be on a bus, get off at the next bus stop.
I love that.
Because I've got a destination, he says.
I love that.
He has these little sayings that we all love.
It's like what we were saying before. The thing is, when they're in that moment, they're not really being malicious. There's people
they genuinely needed you at that time.
Yeah, they've been in some sort of pain and they just keep repeating that pattern. They believe it. So it's their perception. And that's why I think it's so important that you do that. You do give them that love. But then there's a point where we can't feed that perception. You always know when that point is.
Was taken over.
Yeah, you know to that point. You feel it. And you feel where it's not doing them good anymore. So it is a really hard one. And then you have to keep yourself happy in that space. The trick is you can't sync with them. You can be there for them and love them. I think you gave them that love, but you never actually let it become your life. You never took it on. Where it was sad with clients today is their lives are being destroyed by that. They're taking it on.
Yeah.
It's wrecking their lives. So I think it's harder when it's in your home and it's your partner or your child or a parent that you're looking after. You can't detach from it. It's not just that friend or someone who's coming over or friends in your life. It's someone that you're living with every single day.
So it's just there, and they've got to deal with that. Yeah, that's crazy.
This is meant to be my wing person.
Can I ask another question?
Yeah.
This is probably that's 4 questions this morning. I'm just might as well.
Hey, let's be honest.
I find there's some girlfriends, wives, whatever, or vice versa.
Yeah.
But I've seen it a lot.
Yeah.
Or maybe just in this generation, where the guy will just be, you know, his whole personality changes for this woman, but they seem miserable.
Yeah.
Why are they doing that? Why, if they're miserable with that relationship, why don't they leave?
Well, there's a lot of reasons why. There's a lot. Sometimes it's the kids, or it's where there's finances. But what it is most of the time, 90-something% of the time, is that these men actually believe that they're the problem.
Yeah, they have no self-confidence.
They are gutted down. Can I say men are really nice?
Yeah.
Really sad. We are definitely the tougher sex.
Yeah.
Really, we are. Men are very, very soft. Men are very sensitive. Men hurt deeper than we do. Another thing I notice with women, which I have to pull us up on, is that women like to punish. Find that women don't tend to hurt as much. They want to, they think they're hurting, but they just want to punish.
I agree with that. You get very vindictive and petty, and we've all done it.
When you watch a reality show, you see the guys get together, and they're all happy, nothing's really
Get over it.
but they'll fight because the girlfriends are fighting with each other. They're not really, they actually are all loving.
They're sensitive. And men, why do you think women are nurturers? Because men need that. And as women, are we doing that properly? I don't think we are in this society.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, now if you're a nurturing woman, you're getting into him, you're vulnerable, he's walking all over you.
Thank you.
I love adoring my partner.
Yeah.
I worship the ground that man walks on. There is nothing I wouldn't do out of love for him. He comes home, I can't wait to give him a massage or do those things, take care of him. I want to make sure he's got his food. I love nurturing him.
They're just big
But
babies.
he is, doing that, he is my rock. He is my man. He's there for me in every other sense of the word, and I've never felt safer in my life.
Yeah.
So that dynamic of me being in that feminine energy, it makes him that man.
Yeah.
But if we're punishing, we're putting these men down, they just emasculate. And it's
I totally agree with that.
it's a fear thing, and I think a big part of it is social media. And I see this all the time. I've seen it this week especially. Some blokes.
It's like a trend. It's like a trend.
Yeah, but what I've had is I've had women who come and they feel that they're quite average and they don't feel that they're like these girls on social media and they don't look like this and they don't look like that. So they just assume that their husbands want that or they're looking at that.
So they're trying to change that.
And so what they do is they try to beat their husbands down or control them and make them feel like, well, you're not good enough. And they don't even know that they're doing it.
It's done so subtly over a period. Yeah.
And they don't know that
makes
they're
sense.
doing it. So what you have to remember is, you know, if you're in that place where you're feeling a bit insecure, making your partner feel like crap is not going to keep him there.
No,
That's going to make him go. Because
Or make you both miserable.
men don't really care about that.
Yeah.
They really don't. Like I think we think that men are just these guys. Yes, okay, men look, yes, they have that animal instinct. And when you're in love with someone, that person's the most beautiful person in the world to you.
Exactly.
That person is your best friend. That person, when you make a man feel like home, believe me, he might have a perv, but he will never, ever go beyond that. And there's a difference between pervs and
But so does women. That's the thing that gets me.
Exactly.
It's like,
And,
it's natural.
you know, if that's there, that's fine. But you got to remember that he loves you. Feel that love. Like, you might not look like Elle Macpherson or whatever, but that doesn't mean that that man doesn't hold you in high regard.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean he's not attracted to you. And it doesn't mean that when he's with you, he's thinking about them. He's not. Because it's the physicality of you and how he feels when he's with your body in your house. It's the feeling that he gets.
Yeah.
You know, so if you're sitting there thinking, oh my God, he's probably thinking about that, or I don't look like this, believe me, men are not thinking that when they're in that moment. It's how you make them feel as a man.
Yeah.
You know, you grab him and you hold on to him and you make him feel like he's a god, It doesn't matter what the hell you look like.
You're empowered.
Exactly. That's what makes a
But
mate
even
feel
just
loved.
like these days, it's like, if you cook for them and you clean, you're just a saint. I love doing that.
So do I. That's what
Generations.
I love
doing that at 5:01.
Yes. And I used to.
Because we have there's a time frame when my man wants to eat. My mum used to always say, wait till a man's out, it's through his stomach.
Absolutely.
So I'm okay with that.
Let's see, they knew that.
But I have had in the past where they're like, why do you do that for him? Like, he can do it himself.
Yeah.
It's like, do you know how many things he does for me that I can't do?
Yeah.
He, at work, he lifts things that I could never lift. When he gets home, there's things that I can't do that, you know, and he doesn't want to sit and cook after he's just worked, you know, that many hours. And, you know, I totally agree with that.
In some relationships, you have a role, and in some relationships, I think it's very different for different people, and it depends on who you're with and
your lifestyle.
And your lifestyle.
Sometimes you can't.
Because for some people, it works.
People like being equal.
Yeah, that they love that. Now,
Yeah.
I've met the person in their life that it works for them. You know,
They help us a lot as well.
Yes.
Like as much as we take on that, you know, feminine role, they do help us where they they're not like lazy and just sit there and, you know, say things. I think it goes both ways.
Oh, my partner does so much around the home. So
Yeah.
much that I can't do. Takes care of so many things. It's less about the chores. It's more about being the nurturing woman. Like just like hugging him, honey, how's your day? You know, and even if you're in a same-sex relationship, there's always a masculine and feminine in those relationships. You know, and the masculine role, is to be that rock and that protector, and the feminine role is to nurture.
you do need to wrap it up.
Mary's probably got
Yes,
some
yes, I do. I do.
we all did the 15-minute challenge when we were
I spoke about mine. I told you that energy healing came up for me, and it told me to focus on that. That was
They gave you your life path. I love that. How's that? 15 minutes. You got
Well, that was
15
15 minutes, but I think it was also, it sort of carried through the week for me.
Yeah.
In
And
that I
that's what
tried
we
to
do.
keep in that mindset of trying to think about me this week. Did you girls do it?
I did it, and all I did was listen to the birds outside, and I was peaceful.
I love that.
So you felt peace.
Yeah, so I was pretty low to sleep, and I just sat there, dreaming.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, it's been ages with me being in silence now. His little sound machine turned off, and as I was sitting there for a while, I was just thinking all these things. I'm like, how am I supposed to do this for 15 minutes?
That's perfect.
So then after a while, I just listened to the birds and the stuff, and then I was at peace, and then the timer went off.
So with you, it was more about shutting down that internal chatter.
Yeah, I just,
Needed to clear a bit of chatter in your head.
Yes, that's all I have. Yeah.
What about you?
For me, I went outside, I had a little coffee with me, I went and sat under the pool. Then I was just watching the trees, and I had a bit of a headache, so I didn't have much thoughts happening at the minute. And then I kind of just sat there and watched the trees like moving. It was so windy that day. And then I was like, just being like, oh, look at the trees, they look nice, blah, blah, blah. And then as it was all going on, then my brain kind of stopped. The thoughts happening. And then it was like the wind stopped. It was so weird. It was like, as my brain stopped, everything else kind of stopped. It was weird. And as soon as I was thinking that, then the wind started again. And
I
was
love
just so
that.
weird. So it's just like,
So is that about movement? Would that be about like the activity in your life, like slowing that down?
I think it's about your personal power to make things stop.
I think so. I think it's just me noticing that things happen when I'm thinking.
It's about, like, you know, what Mum was talking about, that energy and that power. It's similar in that you have the power to do things with your mind.
Yeah, because I have been thinking lately, like, how much I manifest and do little things.
Yeah.
So then I was like, and then I started doing affirmations while I was sitting there. I was like, this is what I think I'm going to do. So manifesting, just doing like, you're beautiful. Like doing little affirmations. So I just try to do that every now and then. And think about look at your skin, your skin's glowing. I literally said that in my affirmation. I said that headache's going away. Yeah.
So that's what it was about you, because yours felt really big. When you started talking, it felt big. I'm like, oh my God, what did this girl do?
I can't believe you were able to make that happen. That's really
It was
weird.
weird because I just thought it was probably just the nature moving, but then I thought that was weird that my brain's like silent and then the stopped and it's silent and stuff.
I think it's a sign that you have control of what you
and what we want to control and
Yeah. It gives me that superpower vibe. You know what that superhero
literally.
stops time for a moment and does that. With me, actually, there was something that actually dropped a whole new book on me in that moment. Yeah. So, I mean, like, I'll do it all the time, but this time they just gave me a whole book I'm like, oh, I like this book. And they gave me things to research, and I started researching, and I did that, but it all just sort of dropped in my head. So I'm just sitting there relaxing, and all this stuff's coming to me, and I'm just like, not thinking about it, just listening to it, letting it all drop. And then afterwards, I'll be driving going, oh, my God, that was brilliant. That's got to go into a book. And then next thing you know, I'm having a conversation with someone who's like, oh, I've got to introduce you to a publisher. And I'm like, oh, it's so good. So it's a bit like that manifestation thing. When I'm in that space, I can create.
Wow.
Yeah, when I'm in that quiet space, that's where I just create. Yeah, they just drop it on me. It's fantastic.
Excellent. Well, I hope you had your 15 minutes, listeners, and take that.
Share your stories.
Give us feedback.
And I guess we're going to wrap it up like jelly beans today.
No, you can't wrap a jelly bean.
We're wrapping it up like a jelly bean.
Maybe just we're eating jelly beans this Friday.